Hello everyone and welcome to day 3
welcome
of our spring summit. So here we are and we are going to do another first, Megan.
Yes.
This is the first time that we have done a live video with felt flowers. And you know, we do so many paper flowers and I don't want to forget our cute little fuzzy friends because these are brilliant ways to make flowers that last forever. There's so many great uses you can have for them. And I feel like our felt flower library is just, it's getting larger and larger and it's beautiful.
It is.
And you know, Krista is our felt flower designer. So she's not here, of course, with us. So we are going to teach you guys on a little bit more of a beginner level, but they are so easy.
They are. They're very easy. I made them for the first time just the other day and got some tips from Krista for you.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Wonderful. All right. So we are doing a giveaway today. Make sure that you introduce yourself and tell us where you're from. And we're going to randomly pick someone as a winner at the end of this class. And I'm going to let you know what we're giving away. We finally came to a conclusion. We're giving away a $25 gift certificate to this shop. So that can be used. You can use that for international shipping if you do live in a different country. That's a great way to cover that shipping costs, or you can use it to apply it to your actual products. So I think that's a really fun way to do a little, 10-year celebration is do those gift certificates. Yeah. All right, what do we have for materials and tools?
Yeah, let's talk about our materials. So for our felt colors that we're using today, I'm going to have to look these over because I'm not as well versed in our colors of felt as I am the crepe. So we're using sweet pink for our petals and buds. Sunshine is for the center, for those cute little stamen. Eucalyptus for our leaves, and then we're using fern for the center. But we also wanted to throw out another option for the center. We do have felt balls that are a very similar color to this.
This is the juniper 1.5 centimeter.
Yeah, so you could use that instead.
And then you don't have to cover it, because it will actually be larger. And if you do that, if you use a larger one for the centers and you're making buds, I would still go to a smaller for the bud.
Yeah, you're still going to want to use that 1 centimeter
and we do have that
ball
in green
for
as well.
the buds.
Okay. And
Yeah, so we'll, again, with those felt balls, we are using 1 centimeter felt balls for the video today.
Actually, I'm going to use this one.
Okay, Leah's going to use
I'll do the alternative.
the 1.5 green, and I'm going to follow Krista's instructions for how to cover. Other materials we're going to be using a marker today to add some detail to our petals, and we're using a Tombow marker in Dusty Rose, so it's just a really nice light pink.
And we are getting some Tombow markers in our shop, including this one. I don't think we have it quite yet, but we are getting them because we needed more pastel colors, and they still have that beautiful brush marker in. So
any really pale light pink marker will work for you today. And then we have all of our scissors. So if you're cutting the felt by hand, you're going to want to use the pinking shears and the scallop. And then we have our detail scissors. And I don't have them out today, but you are going to want your larger scissors as well if you're cutting by hand.
Sure.
Yeah. Our wire cutters. And then for our wires, we have 18 gauge wires, and then we're also supposed to have 24 gauge, and I thought I had them, but we're gonna have to go grab them.
Run and grab
1 second.
And
we don't need them right this second.
Right. Those are for the leaves.
Yeah, we're also gonna be using 24 gauge wires for our leaves, but these 18 gauge are gonna be for our buds and our flowers. We have a hot glue gun, and that's just, we're only using hot glue today for this flower.
Okay. And then I see one more thing over there.
Yep, we've got our Stiff and Quick, and this is going to help when we're finished with our flower, just holding the shape that we are going to create. And then our floral tape to attach all of our stems together and cover our wires.
Thank you. All right, here's some wire and
some 24 gauge wires.
And also just a reminder, if you have any questions, go ahead and put those into the questions section, and Emily will call those out. And we'll get those answered for you guys.
Yes, we have a lot of viewers from all over. So nice to see everybody here again today.
Awesome. And then we have our template here. So yeah, we have all of our petals. There's a few different petal shapes, so just pay attention to that. And then for our stamen center, if you are cutting it out on the Cricut, it is not going to cut the fringe for you. We found that when you cut felt on the Cricut, cutting really small pieces can just kind of make the felt deteriorate and fall apart. And so we had a lot better luck just cutting that fringe by hand. And we'll show you how we're doing that today as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's get started. We're going to start out with our petals. We're going to go ahead and add some detail to them. So I'm just going to lay them all out. You should have 5 of them. And you'll take your marker using the brush end. And we're just going to add some light strokes from the base up. And then you're also going to kind of very lightly shade in the base as well. With like the edge of your brush, you can kind of shade up.
I was using the marker yesterday to shade in my dog nose.
Oh yeah.
Worked really well. Love seeing everybody's little stuffies in the crafters. That's really fun to go in there and see what you all are doing. So you're personalizing your dogs.
Mm-hmm. And don't worry if you get this a little darker than you would prefer. I found that when you went to spray on the Stiff and Quick, it did lighten the marker up a little bit.
Good to know.
Yeah. Because I remember when I first started coloring this, I was like, this doesn't look like the same color marker she used. Yeah. And then once I sprayed the Stiff and Quick on it, I was like, oh, that's why.
It kind of saturated
it. Yeah, just...
Or not saturated. It kind of blends it into the felt.
It blends it in a little bit better.
That's the right word.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, and now we're going to go ahead and take our center piece and our sunshine felt and our detail scissors. So this piece was cut on the Cricut, and if you cut it on the Cricut, it's going to already cut that scalloped edge for you. So we don't need to use our scalloped scissors today, but we do need to cut our fringe.
This would be a great place to have that fringe clip.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
We need to send Krista a fringe clip so she can see how amazing they are.
Yeah. So these fringes don't need to be super thin. I'd say just about the width of, if you cut a scallop edge, it would be about the width of that scallop.
That's what I'm doing. I'm just following the line of the scallop.
Yep.
That makes a nice shape on the tip.
I'm not quite as quick at fringing felt.
Well, and also
I'm also being a little more precise.
Yeah, we're trying to line that up with that little cut line. Yeah, and I would definitely do one layer at a time for this. I wouldn't stack them. I don't know, there's something amazing about working with felt. I just love the texture.
All right, once you're finished with that, you can go ahead and grab your felt balls. And we're gonna place one on each of the 18 gauge wires. So first you're gonna wanna poke a hole into your felt ball, and you can use either your your needle
nose tweezers.
Yeah, like what are those called? The needle nose tweezers. I actually found that just using my scissors was a little bit better because it could make a slightly larger hole.
And it probably cuts into it a bit
Yeah, it cuts
more.
into it. Just twist around.
We have a question about the centers.
Yes.
Susan's wondering if we could use a cotton spun ball for the center. I'm assuming covering it with felt.
Yes, you could. If you're covering it with felt, you could absolutely use a cotton spun ball.
But I would definitely cover it with felt and then try to go for more of the 1 centimeter, which would be what
I
size
think that would
match?
be like the 12 or the 10.
Millimeter?
Yeah.
Or
I'd
12.
have to do my math on that. I think
Is it
it's a 10
millimeter?
or 12 millimeter.
Oh, yeah. 10 centimeters is 1 meter.
Okay.
Yeah. Or
I was like, I don't remember.
So it's a 10. Yes.
Yeah, so the 10 millimeter.
Yeah, so I would
ball.
definitely try to match the size, but you could do that and then cover it with felt.
Yep.
For sure.
All right, and so you're just going to add some hot glue into that hole you made. And attach it to the tip of your wire.
And I'm using my larger ball for my flower center and then the smaller ball for the bud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, be
Hot
careful
glue
not.
gun kind of got a little crazy.
I did it. Be careful not to slip with your scissors. That seems like something I would do.
Slip with your scissors?
Yeah.
Oh, like cut yourself?
Yep. Or wait, do I just do that with butter knives? I don't know.
All right, so once you have attached your ball, you're going to go ahead and take your felt center. And I like to put hot glue on the ball. So just go ahead and cover the whole ball.
And work fast.
Work fast. Press it down and kind of stretch it around. And make it as smooth as you can on top as you're bringing it down.
Or just do this.
Or just use the ball like
Done.
we did. That's easier. I got a little hot glue on the top of my felt. All right, and then once you've got that attached, you're gonna trim off any excess felt because you want to avoid the bulk. So I'm just taking my detailed scissors and just kind of cutting off the folds. All right. Then we're gonna go ahead and take our center, our fringe center, and this is gonna wrap twice around your ball. So if you have extra after you've wrapped around twice, just go ahead and cut the extra off.
Yeah. And here's my question. Where do you
Yes.
place it on the ball? Do you place it right on the edge there?
I'm placing it right on the edge. You're not gonna wanna go all the way to the wire because it's gonna bulk up a bunch. So as you're wrapping, I'll just start wrapping to show you. It's hard to show without glue on it. You're only going to want to add a little bit of glue at a time. As you're working. So I'm not quite touching the wire. There's still a little bit of space because you want that to attach the ball to the ball. We're not we're not gluing to the wire.
Since my ball is slightly larger, I'm going to move it up just a bit so you can see there's about that much of the ball showing on the base. Okay, so there's one round. Get it around there twice. That will also make the ball seem small, a little bit smaller.
All right, so I have extra, so I'm going to cut my extra off.
There's quite a bit of extra.
There is, yeah.
You can save this for another flower if you want to.
Glue that end down. I'm going to really press where I've glued the felt down to compress it a bit and just make it as small as possible so we don't have any extra bulk. Yeah.
Here, let's compare and see the sizes. All right, so this one's definitely a little bit bigger, but it's an option.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
And you can kind of bring your fringe in so it kind of curves around the ball. And then we'll kind of fluff it back out once we add our petals.
Okay.
Yep. All right, so we're gonna take our petals and we're gonna shape these as much as we can before we add them to the flower. So you're gonna kind of stretch them in opposite directions at the center to give them a little more shape, and you have to pull pretty hard. And then on the edges, on the top edges, you can ruffle them just like if you're used to making crepe paper flowers, just how you'd make crepe paper flowers. So you pull in opposite directions to get a ruffled edge. So when I'm done, this is what my flower my petal looks like.
Who would have thought, right?
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
I know, when I was like, oh, shape the
Yes.
felt petals, I was like, what?
I know, this is great.
It works.
Yeah, it's, using techniques for different mediums.
Mm-hmm.
It really does make a difference.
This technique is so interesting. Did you try it with the stiff and quick on there?
So I did. I tried spraying the stiff and quick on and then shaping it, but it didn't hold its shape very well, like as it dried.
Mm-hmm,
so it was a little better to spray it once
it's
shaped, and then once the stiff and quick is like almost dry and the flower is all together already, then you can kind of go back and reshape the petals a little bit more.
Sometimes, Krista does ship us her projects, and we'll get, her flowers, and they've been in a box and they've been shipping, and sometimes they've kind of
You need to fluff them up a little bit.
So I will re-spray them with stiff and quick, and it works great. Yeah. And I like this because it's not an aerosol, it's a pump, so it doesn't feel quite so difficult.
Right.
And if you look at a Japanese anemone, they are really quite ruffly. They have a lot of texture.
They're crinkly. You could also just I feel like you could just do this.
You could also use the metal ball. You could kind of help press through with the metal ball in the center if you wanted to. So, all right.
This works pretty good. Okay, so now we're gonna apply them to our flower. So I'm just gonna apply glue to the very base. You're gonna want to work quick. That's why I'm using a high temp hot glue gun, so you have a little bit more time. And you're gonna apply the petal right to the base, and once you apply it, go ahead and pinch.
Right to the wire.
Yep, right to the wire. Go ahead and pinch the base of that flower. This will help give the petal a little bit more shape.
Okay, yeah, and it helps it hold up.
Yep.
So it doesn't get quite so floppy.
Yeah.
It gives it kind of a spine in the center.
Yeah.
There.
So we're going to go ahead and apply all 5 petals, and we're not going to apply them evenly around.
Okay. Give them some
You don't
variety.
want them perfectly in a perfect rotation. So I'm going to apply one here, and then I'm going to give it some space and apply my second one over here. Not quite across from it. I'm going to apply my third one right in between those first 2.
Yeah, it's nice to not have to be exactly perfectly placed. Gives a little forgiveness. Yeah, definitely pinching it. Pinching the base really does help hold the petals in place.
This seems to be going pretty fast too.
Yeah, it is a very quick flower once you have all of your pieces cut out. Especially if you're using a Cricut and not cutting by hand.
Yeah.
Because you could cut out quite a bit of flowers and buds from like one piece of felt. Like I feel like you could get like a whole, at least 4 or 5 flowers.
I'll show the back of mine here. You can see how each of the petals has a little pinch on it, giving it somewhat of a spine so that it does stand up nicely. It almost doesn't even need stiff and quick, but it's a nice final touch.
Yeah, it'll help them stay perky over time. All right, so once that's all done, we can go ahead and set it aside. And we're gonna go ahead and take our second wire with the ball on it, and we're gonna make our bud. So for the bud, first we're gonna go ahead and take this 4 petal piece and slide it onto our wire. You're gonna have to kind of push your wire through it. There isn't a hole in the center.
And if you need to snip, you can
You could use snips, but I find just kind of twisting your wire to get it through works pretty well. Like if you twist the wire as you're going. All right, and we're gonna add a little bit of glue just to the base of the ball.
Just gonna use my scissors.
go ahead and glue that right under the base. And then we're gonna pull 2 opposite petals up and bring the tips together, just like this. So I'm like pinching it and holding it, and I'm just checking to make sure these 2 tips will meet. And I'm gonna use some glue on one of them and pinch them together. So we're not gluing to the ball, we're gluing
to make
the petals together to make a point.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'm pinching it. This is also why we're using hot glue, because you'd have to sit here and hold this for so long if you were using tacky glue or white glue. All right, and then you're gonna do the same thing with the other side.
And I'm kind of tucking in my edges so that they're underneath the second 2, and it looks a little less bulky. In fact, I wonder if I want to glue that.
Yeah, you could glue the edges down a little bit
to give it smoother.
I'm gonna do that actually.
So I'm
glue
just
my edges down. This would actually be maybe a good place for some white glue.
Right.
But the hot glue works great too because it's quick.
Because you want it to be relatively smooth.
Yeah, we're trying to get this. When I made my first bud, I found that it was a little bulky. I used a little too much glue. So definitely be careful about how much glue you're using.
So I'm bringing my points right up to the same tip. Is that what we're doing?
Yep, right up to the same point and gluing them together.
Okay. And I see 2 more petals here. We have construction going on outside.
I hear some
if you guys can hear that.
Banging.
I looked up a Japanese anemone and they are beautiful.
They really are. They're one of my new favorites.
All right, and then we have these 2 individual petals. And these we're gonna be applying over the seams. So it's gonna go directly over where one of your petals came up. And your goal with this is to cover part of the seams and then also make it more of like a teardrop shape versus like this really super round shape.
Okay.
So it'll be more rounded at the bottom and then we get a longer point coming up.
Okay.
So I'm going to glue the base of mine down first.
And you're gluing that onto the wire, I'm guessing.
I'm gluing it directly under the flower, yeah, not to the wire.
So that you have more felt to bring up. Okay.
Yep. And then I'm gonna go ahead and attach the other side. And these ones you are gonna wanna glue down the sides to make them smoother.
Okay. And very lightly, you do not need much.
Yeah, just a very small amount of glue.
And again, I think you could use tacky glue for this because it's, you know, you can kind of work the glue.
Yeah.
I would use tacky glue over.
And I'm kind of, I'm tucking in the seams underneath the piece I'm bringing up. And I'm just going to leave my point loose for right now, and I'm going to work on the other side.
All right, what do you guys think? Are you enjoying felt flowers? Those of you who have not made them yet? I think this would be...
Yeah, this is a great one to start out with. All right, and now I'm going to go ahead and glue
your tips together. I know, I just need more time in my day.
And it looks like you're kind of making a dome with those 2 pieces. You're not pinching them together flat. You're kind of
Yeah, I'm not pinching it together flat. I'm trying to keep it rounded still.
So it comes, to a point, not to a flat sandwich.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can't say mine's perfect, but it's not bad.
Me neither. I'll say that I felt the flower was actually much easier than the bud.
Right.
The bud, you have to, it's almost like sculpting with felt.
Yeah. And I'm going to go back and say, if I were to sit down and make a bunch of these, I would probably use white glue for the buds.
Yeah.
So that I had more time.
Yeah.
And also I could, once you get that glue in there and it's cool, you can't really mold it. But with the white glue, you definitely can. You can mold it. So.
All right. So once you've glued your bud together, go ahead and take your marker again, and we're going to add a little bit of color to the tip. So just use your brush end and lightly add that color, darker towards the very tip, and then getting a bit lighter towards the base.
And blending it out, yep.
People are saying that they're very inspired by this, definitely making it look easy.
That's good.
I don't know that this is the first felt flower that I've made, but it's the first one in a long time.
I was going to say, it's definitely one of the first I've made.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
We each kind of have our niche.
We do. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and work with our leaves. Just get them ready. You can set the two small ones aside for right now and just take the larger ones. And you're going to take your 24 gauge wire. I'm going to go ahead and cut one wire in half. You really only need one wire for 2 leaves. We're going to take our hot glue again and do a very thin bead from about, where is that?
Right under the first point, the
first notch.
Yeah.
About an inch from the top.
Okay, that works.
Take a very thin bead of glue all the way down to the bottom of the leaf, and then quickly lay your wire on top. You're then going to apply another very thin bead, unless you put enough.
I think I did.
You did. I didn't. I put a really, really thin bead. If you do more glue, you might be able to get away with just folding it right away over.
And then I just pinched it.
Yep. And then you just pinch over the wire. And once that glue dries, you can open your leaf back up.
And you can see I had just a little extra dot of glue there, which made, and I'm just kind of cutting that bit of glue off.
All right, then you can open it back up.
Again, you could try this with white glue as well. Okay.
You could. It would take, I feel like it's so quick with the hot glue.
It really
You'd
is.
have to sit there for a while to get the white glue to hold and keep
put
that
some little
fold.
clips on it.
Yeah, you could use some sewing clips to hold it together.
The white glue would be a good one for maybe younger crafters.
Yeah.
So that they don't need to use the hot glue, depending on the age.
Definitely. So that's our leaf. We'll do a second one real quick. Try putting a little bit more.
And I was going to do a little less.
Let's see if I can do it with just one go. Yeah, you have to work really fast. Yeah, I think doing less, just doing like the thinnest possible, laying your wire down, and then
is better.
A tiny bit more is better, because I feel like I used a little bit. Actually, I was fine. Turned out fine. Do it either way. You'll get better with practice.
Yeah, these are great.
Yeah.
Look at that.
They are so easy to shape because of that wire, and you have that really nice line down the center.
There we go.
All right. Now we're going to go ahead and wrap our stems with floral tape to bulk them up just a little bit.
And anemones don't really have the sepals at the base.
Nope.
So your stem will just go right into the felt.
So you do want to really pay attention when you're making your flower to keep the base of your flower really clean and even. So I'm going to stop about halfway down my wire just because we're going to go ahead and attach the buds. And then you can go ahead and wrap your bud wire. All right, and I'm going to attach my bud to my flower using floral tape, and I'm attaching it about halfway down the stem.
And it looks like your bud is about the same height.
Yeah, I'm placing it just like, yeah, it's right at the same height.
Height.
Yeah. All right, once you've attached those, we're going to go ahead and take our small leaves. So you could attach multiple flowers, multiple buds to one stem. I wouldn't do too many. I wouldn't do more than like 2 flowers and 3 buds. I'd say that's about the max I would do. But once you've attached all of them, you're going to go ahead and take your smaller leaves and using hot glue, we'll attach them right where the 2 stems meet, where we've wrapped.
It's a really nice transition.
Yeah. And so I'm just going to kind of sandwich the wires in between the 2 leaves.
And it helps that the felt attaches to each other because sometimes hot glue and the floral wire don't really
they don't
play well.
The best. But we're also going to use more
floral tape on top,
floral tape, and we're going to attach our leaves right there as well.
Okay. And you're attaching them right at the base. Okay.
Yep. I think if you want to look at those and see, I'm pretty sure that's.
Yep.
Oh, she did it a little bit lower. So.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and wrap a bit of floral tape around the base of those leaves to really make sure they stay in place because, yeah, hot glue does not attach super well to floral tape. It's a little too waxy. So I'm going to go down about 1 inch or 2 and then go ahead and add our larger wired leaves.
And you can do 1 leaf at a time or you can sandwich it and do them all together either way.
Yeah. And then go ahead and take that floral tape all the way down to attach your stems to make it one.
And you can trim it if you want to. I think I'm going to trim some of mine off.
Yeah, it's like my stem is a little too long. I'm going to cut about 3 inches off. And then, yeah, you can arrange your buds, your flowers, your leaves, make them a little wiggly, not perfectly straight.
The stems, make them a little movement, give them some movement.
All right, and this is where we would apply the Stiff and Quick. And so I'm going to go ahead and spray this on. And you want to saturate them pretty well. I like to stick my hand under like this and kind of cup it so that they're holding the shape.
I'm just giving mine a little more shape before I put that Stiff and Quick in there.
I think Chris's tip was after you spray these, kind of let the Stiff and Quick dry for a little bit. So we're not going to have quite enough time to show you that. But if you let your Stiff and Quick dry until it's like almost all the way dry, and when they're still a little bit damp, you can go back in and reshape your petals a little bit more.
And then it will hold.
Yeah. I would also recommend, this is something I found helpful, but with my crepe paper flowers, I always like to let them dry upside down. And I would let these dry upside down as well. Otherwise, they're going to get a little sad and droopy. So I always just bend the wire and then set it over the edge of my table and set something heavy on the wire.
Or you can clip it onto a...
Or clip it onto something.
All right.
Yeah.
This is beautiful.
Kind of just fell out because they're too heavy with that.
So here we go.
Flip it
Here's
over.
our little bouquet here.
Now I need to go wash my hands.
I know, right?
I'm so sticky.
Yeah, this is so much fun. And I am now really tempted to take a bunch of different flowers and make a full bouquet
of felt flowers.
Felt flowers.
Well, I loved the addition of the felt flowers in the last spring bouquet you made.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Lisianthus.
Oh yeah,
with like the with the paper daffodils,
Mm-hmm.
and I forget what crepe paper flower was in there.
We had the tulips.
The
crepe
tulips,
paper
yeah.
Where we mixed all the different
Yeah,
medias.
I thought it was really
beautiful.
fun to.
Yeah.
If you're not sure what to do with your felt flowers, I
Yeah.
thought that was a really nice inspiration.
I've also seen some beautiful felt flower wedding bouquets. We've made a few. I know we did a tropical bouquet a few years ago. So any last minute questions on these felt flowers?
Doesn't look like it.
Okay.
I think you guys did a great job, and these are so beautiful.
They are. Should we pick a winner?
Yes. Drum roll.
Drum roll.
All right.
Put them in the random number catcher here.
Yeah. Okay, it looks like Lisa Tonkin from Victoria, Canada.
All right.
So if you want to go ahead and email me at hello@leahgriffith.com, we will get you that prize. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Lisa. All right, tomorrow is day number 4, and Emily is going to teach us some embroidery. So this is going to be so much fun. It's very free form, and she's embroidering my the jumper that I wear out in my garden, so making it super cute. My little overalls. So bring your whatever you want to embroider, and we're going to learn some really great tips on to making some flowers for your clothing. All right. All right, you guys, we'll see you tomorrow. And don't forget, we do go ahead and sign up for the embroidery skill course that starts next week. We do have that live, and we only have so many of the kits, so there's just a few left. If you want to grab one of those kits, go ahead and snag those in our shop, and we will also have more coming. But get them while you can. All right, we will see you tomorrow. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.